terrorism further compounds the twin problems of violence against humanitarian personnel and lack of accountability. Access to new and emerging technologies has enhanced the capacities of terrorist groups to obstruct humanitarian action, including safe and unhindered access for medical and humanitarian agencies. There needs to be zero tolerance for terrorism. Sanctioning individuals and entities perpetrating serious violations of international humanitarian law, especially attacks on humanitarian and medical personnel, is an effective tool for the Council to check and seize violations. We do believe, however, that such measures should have wider regional and international support, in the absence of which there may be further deterioration of the humanitarian crisis and shrinking of the humanitarian space. For example, in the context of Syria, both the UN Secretary General and the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs have repeatedly spoken about the worsening impact of such measures on humanitarian operations on the ground. We condemn the killing of an Indian photojournalist, Danish Siddiqui, while he was on a reporting assignment in Kandahar in Afghanistan yesterday. I extend our sincerest condolences to his bereaved family. Mr. President, the complex nature of humanitarian situations around the world today demands urgent attention of the Council. We believe that the primary responsibility for providing protection and assistance in a humanitarian crisis lies with the concerned country and its national government. However, international humanitarian assistance, when provided, must be given impartially. In accordance with the guiding principles outlined in General Assembly Resolution 46/182 and other relevant resolutions, India remains committed to preserving the principles of humanity, neutrality, impartiality, and independence. In responding to all humanitarian situations, being party to all the 4 Geneva Conventions, India's legal framework is fully aligned with supporting the principles of international humanitarian law and its implementation. We also believe that respect for the principles of the UN Charter, including sovereignty, political independence, and the territorial integrity of member states, should remain the basis for all humanitarian actions taken by the Council. The world today is engulfed in a range of humanitarian crises. Most of these are caused by armed conflicts that severely impact the lives of millions of innocent civilians. The COVID-19 pandemic has further exacerbated this situation. While international humanitarian law, as we see it today, has its genesis in the recent past, civilizations and cultures throughout history have developed rules of warfare for the protection of non-combatants and civilian populations. The humanitarian law principles found their existence in India long before modern humanitarian jurisprudence evolved. India has followed the path of dharma, or righteous conduct, and provided refuge to persecuted people over centuries. The dharma-based norms for armed conflict in ancient India were founded on the principles of humanity and humanitarian norms and had many rules protecting civilians during conflict. High importance was attached to distinguishing combatants and non-combatants during armed conflict. In a dharma yudh, or righteous war, civilians were not attacked. On the contrary, they had to be protected.